with trig functions. Remember we had SOHCAHTOA to tell what our sine functions were. And then I also have this green card that I printed out. I was not prepared to make this video. I have this green card that I gave you that gives me the trig functions and how they're related. So I have this. And my sine is opposite of cosecant, cosine is opposite of secant, and tangent is opposite of cotangent. So I'm going to go through. So for my sine, it's opposite over hypotenuse. I have theta, but I have t on the graph, so I'll just overwrite it with theta. So opposite, I'm going to go through and label. Opposite is the one that's directly across from the angle. Adjacent is the one that touches the angle. And hypotenuse is my slanty line. So then what I'm going to do is opposite over hypotenuse, so 7 over 25. And if I needed to, I would want to simplify my fractions. Cosecant, I go ahead and I flip the fraction, so I get 25 over 7. Cosine, I am doing adjacent over hypotenuse, so 24 over 25. Cosecant, nope. Secant, I switch them, so I have 25 over 24. Tangent is opposite over adjacent, so 7 over 24. And cotangent switches them, so 24 over 7. And I'm going to do the same thing for number 2. I'm going to go ahead and label. So I'm going to rewrite this as theta. Opposite is 8, adjacent is 15, and hypotenuse is 17. Then sine is opposite over hypotenuse, so I'm going to have 8 over 17. Cosecant switches them, so I get 17 over 8. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, so I'm going to have 15 over 17. Secant switches them, so I get 17 over 15. Tangent is opposite over adjacent, so 8 over 15. And cotangent switches those, so 15 over 8. Okay. 3 and 4 kind of work similarly, except I have to draw my own triangle. So I'm going to do this. It says sine, so sine is opposite over hypotenuse, so opposite is 3, hypotenuse is 5. Then I would want to do the quadratic formula to find my missing side length. I'm going to write this up here. A squared plus b squared equals c squared is the quadratic formula. And then c will always be my hypotenuse, so it doesn't matter what a and b are, but I want to always make c the hypotenuse, and I'm going to plug in. I have a squared plus 3 squared equals 5 squared. Am I off the screen? Just. Okay. Then I'm going to go ahead and square my numbers. 3 squared is 9. 5 squared is 25. Then I'm going to subtract 9 on both sides. I get a squared equals 16. Find the square root of 16. A is 4. So the missing side length is 4. Now that I have my triangle, I have it labeled but not labeled. So I want to go ahead and label my opposite, which is 3. Opposite, which is 3. Adjacent, which is 4. And hypotenuse, which is 5. Now I can go and fill in my values. Cosecant is always the opposite of sine, so I'm going to flip the fraction. It's going to become 5 over 3. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, so adjacent is 4 over hypotenuse is 5. Secant goes ahead and flips them, so I get 5 over 4. Tangent is opposite over adjacent, so 3 over 4. Cotangent flips them, so 4 over 3. I'm going to do the same thing for number 4. Starting off by drawing my triangle. This is my theta, opposite over hypotenuse for this triangle. Then I'm going to go ahead and label A, B, and C so I can find my side length. So I have 9 squared, A squared, plus 9 squared equals 41 squared. A squared stays the same, 9 squared is 81. I do not know what 41 squared is. So we're going to check on the calculator. 41 squared is 1681. Then I'm going to go ahead and subtract 81 from both sides. I get a squared equals 1600. I go ahead and take the square root. On my calculator, I go second square root 1600, and it gives me 40. So a equals 40. I'll go label 40 on my triangle. And now I'm going to label my opposite adjacent hypotenuse. So 9 is opposite, 40 is adjacent, 41 is my hypotenuse. Then going in to fill in the values on this chart, cosecant flips this fraction, so I get 41 over 9. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, so 40 over 41. Secant flips that one, so 41 over 40. Tangent is opposite over adjacent, so I get 9 over 40. And then cotangent flips that, so 40 over 9. Moving on to the ones on the bottom, it wants me to find the x value of the triangle. I have my theta, the angle that's given to me. I have my opposite, and I'm searching for my hypotenuse. Opposite and hypotenuse is sine, so I'm going to do sine of 49 equals 3 over x. Because I'm looking for x, I'm going to switch sine of 49 and x. So I get x equals 3 over sine 49. Then I want to go type this into my calculator. I'll put it over my work so I make sure the light's not on this one. I'm going to do 3 divided by sine of 49. And before I hit enter, I want to go to math. Just kidding, not math. Mode. And right here where it says radian, I'm going to change it to degree. Press enter. So now the degree is highlighted. And I'm going to second quit out of here so the calculator knows I'm working with degrees and not radians. Otherwise, it will give me the wrong answer. So I did that, and it gave me 3.975 for my value of x. Same thing over here on number 6. This time I'm going to go ahead and label, I have my angle, I have my opposite, and my adjacent. So this one is tangent. So I have tangent of 29 equals x over 2. On this one, to get x by itself, I'm going to multiply both sides by 2. That cancels out over here, and I get 2 tangent 29 equals x. And then I want to type that in my calculator. 2 tangent 29 gives me 1.109. Okay, moving on. This one wants me to convert radians to degrees and to decide what quadrant it is. So remember, to convert from radians to degrees, I want to multiply by 180 over pi. That's the magic thing I'm multiplying by. So I'm going to write 180 over pi over here. The pi's cancel out, so then I'm left with 3 times 180 divided by 5. 3 times 180 divided by 5, which is 108. So this is going to be 108 degrees. And then I have to decide what quadrant it's in. I'm going to draw my quadrant map right here. Remember, I start at 0, 90, 180, 270, 360. 108 is in between these two. And remember, if I go through and write my quadrants, I have 1, 2, 3. Oh, I cannot write numbers today. So my line ended up being in quadrant 2. So my answer is going to be quadrant 2. I'm going to do the same thing for number 8. I'm multiplying by 180 over pi. Pi's cancel out, so I'm left with 7 times 180 over 6, which I think is 210, but let's double check. It's 210. So 210 degrees. That's my first part of the answer. Then I go, and I'm going to graph it on my quadrants. 210 is in between 180 and 270, so that puts it in the third quadrant. Quadrant. Numbers 9 and 10 kind of work similarly, except this time I'm turning degrees into radians. So I'm going to do pi over 180 is the magic thing I'm multiplying by. So multiply by pi over 180. So I'm going to rewrite this as 108 divided by 180 and leave the pi off to the side. On my calculator, I'm going to do 108 divided by 180, and it gives me 0.6. I do not want the 0.6. Why did I put the calculator in? Then I'm going to go to math, so the button right under alpha, and I press fraction, enter, and it turns it back into a fraction. So I have 3/5, and my answer will be 3/5 pi. And then if I go back and draw this on the quadrant map, I had a degree of 108, which is in between 90 and 180, which is quadrant 2. Same thing with 405. I'm going to multiply by pi over 180. I rewrite it as 405, not 450, 180. And then I write the pi off to the side. On the calculator, I'm going to do 405 divided by 180. Go math, fraction, enter. Turns it into 9/4 pi. It's my radians. And then I'm going to go graph this. So I have 0, 90, 180, 270, 360. I'm not high enough, so I'm going to keep counting. Remember, the more I count, every quarter is 90 degrees. So 360 plus 90 is 450. So it's in between those two. Now, this is in quadrant 1 because it's just in the first box. I only go to 4 on quadrants. I stop. I do not repeat. Okay. Coterminal means it ends in the same spot. To find a positive one, I want to add 180, so I'm going to do 312, 360. 312 plus 360 is 772. Just kidding. 3 plus 3 is 6. Okay. And then negative, I subtract 360 from this. I'm going to do 312 minus 360. I do not know that one in my head. And it seems like I can't do that, so I'm not going to do it in my head. 312 minus 360 gives me negative 48. So when I get my negative coterminal angle, it should be negative. If I subtract and it's still positive, I subtract again. So same thing for number 12. To find my positive one, I'm going to do 156 plus 360. And I'm going to add on the calculator because I do not trust myself anymore. Gives me 516 degrees. To find my negative, I'm going to go do the same thing. I'm going to do 156, but this time I subtract 360. And it gives me negative 204 degrees. On 13 and 14, it wants me to find arc length. Remember, arc length is S, R, theta. R is radius, theta